This is Lesson 12. I will solve multi-step word problems and check for reasonableness. So we're going to be solving some word problems today, and we're going to be using estimation to see if our answers are reasonable. So to get started today, turn to the next blank page in your math journal, please. In the top right-hand corner, write today's date, and then I want you to write Lesson 12, Solving Word Problems. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do whenever we are working on any word problem is we are going to be using the RDW process. The R stands for read, the D stands for draw, and the W stands for write. So you always need to read the problem, think, is there anything I can draw, and then you're going to write. You're going to write two things. You're going to write a number sentence, and you're also going to write a word sentence. So we're going to write two things. So it's kind of like read, draw, write. Okay, so let's take a look at this problem, and we're going to start with RDW. So RDW. So we're going to start with read. The City Flower Shop sold 14,594 pink roses on Valentine's Day. They sold 7,857 more red roses than pink roses. How many pink and red roses did the City Flower Shop sell altogether on Valentine's Day? Use a tape diagram to show your work. So here is the draw portion. And you can see they've already drawn this out for you. I want you, in your math journal, to draw these two tape diagrams. And it's really important that you label the first one pink and the second one red. It's also really important that you make the pink one smaller than the red one, because if you'll notice, it said that altogether, it says that they sold 14,594 pink. That's why this is labeled 14,594. And then they sold 7,857 more red roses. So they sold 14,594 just like the pink, but they sold 7,854 more. And then here's our question. How many pink and red roses did the City Flower Shop sell altogether? So that's why this part right here, they used a line. You can use a line or you can use this kind of a fancy mark, but this is what we're trying to find. This is our question. Okay, so you would draw this tape diagram, and just by drawing this, it's kind of obvious what we're going to do to answer the problem. Okay, we're going to take, first of all, they chose to add the 14,594 to the 7,857 to see how much they sold in red flowers. So I want you to copy this addition problem in your math journal, and then when you're ready, press play. And then after you have copied this problem, now I want you to solve. By yourself, think to yourself, how can I figure out how many Valentine's flowers they sold altogether? And once you have that addition sentence written and solved, I want you to press play. Okay, so hopefully, to solve for V, you chose to add 22,451 to 14,594. You'll notice they put 14,594 on top. It's okay if you began with 22,551 as long as this was your answer. And if you added but you did not get this answer, go back and look and see if you can see any silly addition mistakes. So we've read, we drew, and we wrote an addition sentence. Now we're going to write a statement of the answer. So the question is, how many flowers do they sell altogether? So now I want you to write this sentence, or a sentence like it. City Flower Shop sold 37,045 pink and red roses on Valentine's Day. It's okay if you just said the shop sold 37,045 roses. You don't have to write all of that information, but it is really important that you write a sentence to answer the question. Now I want you to find Lesson 12 problem set, and we're going to practice a couple more of these problems. Now, the difference with this problem is you're going to notice that the directions say estimate and then solve each problem. So, some of us are in a really bad habit of when we see the word estimate, we want to go ahead and just solve the problem, and then we want to round our answer. But the reason why we're estimating is because we want to see if this is a reasonable answer. And if you add or subtract and then go back and estimate, it doesn't make any sense. So let's take a look at number 1. It says, for the bake sale, Connie baked 144 cookies. Esther baked 49 more cookies than Connie. So I've already read. Now I'm thinking to myself, is there something that I can draw? There's lots of things that you could draw. When you were in the earlier grades, you probably would have drawn however many cookies you had. But it's kind of difficult to draw 144 cookies. I mean, you could do it, but it would take a lot of time. So I think I'm going to go with the tape diagram. So I'm going to start with Esther. And Esther baked 49 more cookies than Connie. So I'm going to make her tape diagram in two parts. So here's Connie, and Connie baked 144 cookies. I like to just go ahead and write it inside the box. Okay, Connie baked 144 cookies, and Esther baked 49 more cookies than Connie. Now, A says about. So this is a big clue that I'm going to estimate. About how many cookies did Connie and Esther bake? Estimate by rounding each number to the nearest 10 before adding. So I've got 144, and I'm going to round it to the nearest 10. There are 140 tens and 144. 10 more would be 150. My midway point would be 145. Because 144 is less than 145, 144 would round to 140. Now I've got 49. So there are 40 tens and 49. 10 more would be 50. My midway point would be 45. And 49 would be way up here, almost to 50. So 49 rounds to 50. And then my last number, oh, I already rounded it to 144. So I've already rounded 144, so I have 140, how much Connie baked, plus Esther baked 140 plus 150. So I'm going to put 140, not 150, but plus 50. So 140 plus 140 is 280. So I have 280 plus 50. 280 plus 50 equals 330. So they baked about 330. Okay, all right, right along. Now it says exactly how many cookies did Connie and Esther bake. And I'm going to go on the split screen so that I can see my numbers. So I'm not going to redraw this picture because it's going to be the exact same picture. But the words exactly tell me that I'm not going to estimate this time. All I have to do now is make an addition sentence. So when I'm adding numbers, I would prefer to add them vertically than horizontally. So I'm going to start by adding 144 plus 49 to see how many cookies Esther baked, which would be 193. If you feel like you know what to do here, go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and do it yourself and then just check your answer. But if you'd like to work it with me, feel free. So now I'm going to take the 193 that Esther made, and I'm going to add that to 144 that Connie baked, and we'll see exactly how many cookies they baked together. So 9 plus 4 is 13. That gives me 337. So they, pretty wide, they baked 337 cookies. Pretty close to our estimate though, isn't it? It says, is your answer reasonable? Compare your estimate from A to your answer from B. Write a sentence to explain your reasoning. Okay, I'm going to type this because if I write with this pen, it's not going to look very pretty. Okay, this does not have to be a really long answer. Basically, I would say, yes, my answer is reasonable because my estimate was 330 cookies, and the actual answer was 337. The answers are very close. Okay, so because my estimate was only 7 away from my actual answer, it is reasonable. Now that doesn't tell me that I didn't make a silly addition mistake, but that does tell me that my answer at least makes sense and that it's in the ballpark. Okay, so this is all of the front side of your page, and you can see kind of how we work through this problem. Now, if you'll take a look at the next page, flip your paper over in the back, we're going to do the exact same strategy. If you feel like you can do this on your own, please pause the video and try it on your own. You do not have to sit and listen to me explain every single detail. But if you are having difficulties and you're not sure what to do and you would like to follow along, that is okay too. Okay, so remember we're going to use the RDW process. So we're going to start by reading the problem, and then we're going to see if there's anything that we can draw. So we're going to do RDW, read, draw, write. Raffle tickets were sold for a school fundraiser to parents, teachers, and students. 563 tickets were sold to teachers. 888 more tickets were sold to students than teachers. 904 tickets were sold to parents. About how many tickets were sold to parents, teachers, and students? Round each number to the nearest hundred to find your estimate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw. So I want to know about how many tickets were sold to parents, teachers, and students. So I'm just going to draw a tape diagram like this. And I have teachers bought 563 tickets. That T stands for teachers, not tickets. And then students bought 888. Now, if I was being accurate, this box would have been bigger than 563. And then 904 tickets were sold to parents. So what I'm trying to find out is the total here, this together. So that tells me that I'm going to use addition. So I'm going to round these numbers. Again, if you don't feel like you need to go along with me and round these numbers to the hundred, feel free to do it yourself and then you can fast forward. Okay, so I'm rounding each number to the nearest hundred. So there are 500s in 563. Another 100 would be 600. My midway point would be 550. 563 is more than 550. So 553 would round to 600. Next, I have 888. So there are 800s and 888. Another 100 would be 900, and my midway point is 850. So 888 would be up here. I'm going to kind of squeeze it in. Because it's more than halfway, it rounds to 900. Next, 904. So there are 900s. One more 100 would be 1000, which is 1,000. And then my midway point would be 950. 904 is really close to 900, so it rounds to 900. So if I'm going to estimate, all I have to do is add all these numbers together. Now the great thing about estimation is that you have so many zeros that it's pretty easy to add these numbers in your head. I'm going to go ahead and write them out, but I probably could have done this addition in my head. So I've got all these zeros, 0, and 9 plus 9 is 18, and 18 plus 6 is 24. So that's 2,400 tickets. So I'm going to squeeze this in and say 2,400, oh, I better use the word about. About 2,400 tickets per. This ugly little word over here is about. All right. Now, just like last time, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to tell exactly how many tickets were sold. Again, I don't have to redraw all this. It's the same problem. I already know what the model is. I'm still going to add, only this time I'm going to add the actual answers. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to have 563, 888, 904. I'm going to go ahead and add all three of these numbers together, but you could separate this problem and add these two together and then add the answer to that or the sum to 904. I'm going to go ahead and add all three of them together. So I'm going to say 3 plus 4 is 7, and 7 plus 8 is 15. 1 plus 6 is 7, 7 plus 8 is 15. 1 plus 5 is 6, 6 plus 8 is 14, and 14 plus 9 is 23. So 2,355 tickets. So again, it says assess the reasonableness of your answer. And B, use your estimate from A to explain. So again, I'm going to type because my typing is a little bit clearer than my writing. So I'm going to say my exact answer is 1,355. And estimate 2,400. Answer is reasonable. They are. Okay? So you're going to be doing some problems like this on your exit slip. Exact same strategy. Good luck. Okay, last problem. So from 2010 to 2011, the population of Queens increased by 16,075. Brooklyn's population increased by 11,870 more than the population increase of Queens. A says estimate the total combined population increase of Queens and Brooklyn from 2010 to 2011. Round the ends to estimate. So I want you to think about what could you draw to model this. So go ahead and think about what your tape diagram would look like and then estimate the total. And whenever you're ready, come back and check. Okay, so this is one example of the way that you could have drawn your tape diagram. So here's the population of Queens, and here's the population of Brooklyn. It has the same increase as Queens, but it also has an additional 11,870. So it wants to know what is the total population of Queens and Brooklyn. So again, we are only estimating. So I estimated 16,075 to 16,000, and then I estimated 11,870 to 12,000, and then I kept the 16,000 right here. So the total would be 44,000. So my sentence was the total combined population increase of Queens and Brooklyn from 2010 to 2011 was about 44,000.